Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Ball Jersey. Joe Archino back here with your Week 6 NFL picks, and moving right into it, the San Francisco 49ers go on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo has won 3 games in a row, and they've certainly figured out a lot of their identity woes on the offensive side that we saw in the beginning stage of the season. They played much better. LaShawn McCoy is running the ball very well, and there's just a heck of a lot of uncertainty with the 49ers right now. Obviously, they're making a quarterback switch in this game. I don't think it's going to do too much. I like Buffalo at home. Then Jacksonville on the road, coming off their bye against the Chicago Bears. Chicago nearly pulling it off on the road against the Colts last week. And this is the kind of game where, to me, it does look like a perfect setup game where it's easy to pick the Jaguars coming off of their bye. But to me, the Bears haven't looked as terrible as that 1-4 record has shown. They've shown a lot more grit at the quarterback position with Jay Cutler gone than I think you would have expected them to. So they go home now after playing well against the Colts. The Jaguars are coming off a bye. They're still very young. To me, this looks like one where it's very easy to pick against Chicago, but that's exactly why I'm going to go with Chicago in this game. Then you have Cincinnati going on the road to take on the Patriots. Cincinnati is at a very unsettling 2-3 right now, and I think out of all the teams in the NFL who made the playoffs last year, probably one of the most degrees of uncertainty lays with them at this point in the season. Tom Brady came back and he made us all know he was back with the numbers he put up against the Browns, but this is the Bengals and not the Browns. But I think we still look at it. Tom Brady goes back to his home and he will have a big day against the Bengals, which I just think right now, Marvin Lewis, I think, will be very difficult for him to finish the season as the Bengals coach. I don't know. I think he's had such a long time there, and he's continually gotten more opportunities. But I just think at the end of the day, sometimes your time runs out, and I think this season really might be where his time just runs out. Then the Cleveland Browns, the winless Cleveland Browns on the road against the Tennessee Titans, and I love what Marcus Mariota has done this season. I think his fourth quarter play has been some of the best in the league. The Titans are a team that doesn't have a ton of playmakers, but Marcus Mariota really looks to be progressing nicely. The Browns, they give it their effort. They're not losing games because they're not prepared and they don't have effort. They're just losing games because they have so much uncertainty at quarterback. This is another game where they have that uncertainty, and to me, I think they have a chance, but I'm not picking against Marcus Mariota and the way he has played in the fourth quarter. Then the LA Rams go on the road against the Lions. The Lions beat the Eagles last week, and the Eagles really coming off their bye. I think we looked at it as a good opportunity for Wentz to win coming off the bye, but I liked the Lions last week. I thought even though Wentz was coming off the bye, Detroit was desperate for a win. They now sit at 2-3, and I have them winning again. I think last week they really had to gut it out in the second half to find a way to win, but they were able to. The Rams, to me, have just been so up and down. They bounced back very nicely from where they started the season. I think from the Monday night game we saw them start the season, we were ready to sell them as fast as we could, but they certainly bounced back better than we could have expected, but I still have the Lions winning at home. Then the Steelers go on the road, 4-1 they sit at and take on the Dolphins, and to me, the Dolphins are 1-4, but that very well should be an 0-5. I really think that they're not too far away from the Browns in terms of the worst team in the NFL. The Ryan Tannehill thing is coming to a bitter end. I really think this team is desperate for an identity. They don't have one. I don't know if they're prepared all the time. I like the Steelers big here, and I just think this Dolphins thing, they're not too far away from being the worst team in the NFL. Then the Saints at home against the Panthers. The Saints coming off their bye, and the Panthers just desperate for answers right now, losing in the closing seconds of their Monday night game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cam Newton did not play that game. He's had trouble with his health. The offensive line has had trouble protecting him. They've had trouble in the secondary. This Panthers team is really struggling right now with their identity and bouncing back from that loss in the Super Bowl. The Saints, to me, have struggled tremendously with their identity as well this season, like they've continued to do so the past few seasons, but they are coming off the bye, and I just think right now, coming off the bye, they have a little bit of extra rest, and I see them going on and winning this game. Although it's very hard to see Carolina going to 1-5, and that's a tough one to choose against, but to me, that bye to give you the extra rest is the difference maker. Then the Giants return home after a 2-week road trip to play the Baltimore Ravens. It's been a testing time for the New York Giants, but I think they come home here and they get a win. Baltimore, again, very tough to see them losing a third straight game. They lost to Oakland at the very end at home. Then they lose to Washington at the very end at home. It kind of sounds like a similar thing to what the Giants experienced last season, struggling to finish games at the end. But I think the Giants right now, they played much better against the Packers. They struggled like we thought they would against the Vikings. And at the end of the Redskin game, they lost that game. So the Giants, to me, have been playing much, much better at the end of games. Now they come back home. I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to clean up the things that have been troubling them and find a way to win. Then a divisional battle in the NFC East, the Eagles on the road against the Redskins. And to me, I'm actually kind of surprised how many people are going with the Eagles here. I love Carson Wentz as much as anyone else, but he is still a rookie, and there is still a steep learning curve for him. The Redskins have been playing much, much better. Since they got the win against the Giants, they have won their next 2 games after that as well. They're playing much better. They're at home, coming off a win to the Ravens. The Eagles coming off the loss to the Lions. But this is a very, very difficult divisional battle. Carson Wentz's first divisional battle. I have the Redskins here. I think it's a very close game. Carson Wentz will play well like he has done, but I think for him, this is an opportunity where he needs to learn, and he will learn the hard way. The Chiefs on the road against the Raiders in an AFC West matchup. To me, the Chiefs are just one of those teams right now. I can't figure them out. There's a handful of teams in the league this year that I think are very tough to figure out. The Chiefs are one of them. We know what they are offensively. They're not going to make a lot of explosive plays. That's just the way that they are built. The Raiders, on the other hand, well, they are one of the most explosive teams in the league right now. I don't think there's any question how good Carr is. He might be the best quarterback at this point in the season. I have the Raiders going to 5-1, and make no mistake about it, Jack Del Rio has this team really in a tremendous, tremendous position. Then the 4-1 Atlanta Falcons go on the road to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And this is an interesting game because Atlanta has been playing very, very well. Certainly seems like they're kind of mimicking the start they had to the season last year. But we all know what kind of happened to them and how they unraveled last season. Will the unraveling happen again this year? Well, I don't have them winning this game. I just think on the road in the NFL, having to play Denver and then Seattle back-to-back is very, very difficult. But certainly this is a game where we'll all be watching very closely how Atlanta responds in this one and after that, because we saw what happened last year, and they're hoping they don't repeat the mistakes that they made last season. Very interesting matchup after this. The Cowboys on the road against the Packers. I think the Cowboys, obviously at 4-1, are in business right now with how well they've been playing. You know, they have their formula figured out. They are going to run the ball. They lead the league in attempts. They lead the league in almost every rushing category. Ezekiel Elliott has been tremendous, and that offensive line has been outstanding. Dak Prescott's not throwing a lot of balls down the field, but he's completing a very high percentage of his passes because they're putting him in high percentage plays, and he's executing them. You can't ask a guy to do much better than he's done for them so far this season. But with that said, I do think they get themselves a loss against the Packers. They have not played against a ton of great offenses this year. Green Bay's got problems of their own, but they're home, and I think it's one of the bigger tests the Cowboys have faced so far this season, and I have Green Bay getting the win. Then the Indianapolis Colts in the Sunday night game on the road against the Houston Texans. And let's just face it, the Colts are a mess at 2-3 right now. It really is a one-man show with Andrew Luck. The GM Ryan Grigson has not surrounded him with the talent. Chuck Pagano looks like he's really struggling as coaching at the helm of that team. And the offensive line's not protecting Luck well. He doesn't have a lot of options on offense to throw the ball to. He doesn't have a running game. He doesn't have playmakers on defense. He really is a one-man show, and it has really been evident with how many times he has had to struggle and carry the bulk of for this team. I have the Texans getting a win here. I just think at 3-2 at home, they're the safer option. They have a much better roster. They're going to outcoach the Colts. The Colts really are a mismatch against almost every team in the NFL, with the exception of a slight few. They really are outmatched from coaching, from roster, from personnel. The only thing they have is a transcendent quarterback, and it just shows what happens. Even if you have a guy that good, you need to surround him with talent. Then the Monday night game, the Jets on the road against the Cardinals. Cardinals overwhelming favorites. The Jets sitting at 1-4. It seems like it's almost too easy to pick the Cardinals in this game, and maybe I'm a sucker, but I'm going with the Cardinals as well. I just think the Jets right now, they're not as bad as that 1-4 record shows. They played a very difficult schedule to start their season, but right now they're just in a crisis mode right now. That schedule's been brutal. They've got some injuries now that are catching up to them, which are going to hurt them. And to me, Arizona has been one of the disappointing teams of the season so far as well, especially what we've seen Bruce Arians be able to build there. But it really does come down to quarterbacks in this league, and we've always been surprised how well they've been able to do without having an elite one. Carson Palmer's played very well for them, but I don't think we've ever really fully believed in him or what he can do. He wasn't able to go for a while, but I think the Cardinals get a win here against the Jets, and that is going to do it for your Week 6 NFL picks. Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll catch everybody in the next episode.